You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and today we are going to be having a call-in episode. If you guys want to air out your grievances, want to talk about this Rams beatdown we just watched, if you guys want to talk about 49ers Bears matchup for this weekend, we could talk all about it. You guys can call in if you just click at the link in my bio. You don't have to download anything. Just click that. It'll walk you through how to join and all that, and we can talk ball. You guys are also welcome to send in any questions in the comments as well. And as you know how it goes around here. I'll get to your comments. What's going on, Dawson? Happy you could be here. Guys, how are we feeling after watching that wonderful Thursday night football game? First of all, football is back. Let's talk about that. I mean, it's finally here. I feel like football has the longest offseason of like any sport. Am I wrong? Hockey had just ended, and I feel like they were already talking draft like the next week, and then they're already almost back. And then us with football, we got to wait like half the fucking year. But anyway, I'm just so glad that football is back, and I'm also glad that the Rams just got absolutely embarrassed on national television on the same night that they got their banner revealed, right? Not doing so well defending their Super Bowl title as of right now. It's only week one, right? It's only week one. But I'm going to ask you guys, do you guys think the Rams are cooked, or are the Bills just that good? Or is it just week one? Is it just a Super Bowl hangover? I mean, it could be a little of everything, right? I personally hope the Rams are cooked. They did look cooked tonight. I know there's some concerns over Matthew Stafford's elbow. There's been like whispers and reports about his elbow pretty much like this entire off season. He didn't like practice much of camp and like OTAs and stuff, and now it's like we saw him in action, and there were some weird things that we saw. I mean, as Richard Sherman pointed out, Richard Sherman's hilarious, by the way. He was like talking on Twitter and saying how Matthew Stafford is just being Matthew Stafford. He throws picks, and he did throw the most picks of any quarterback last season, right? So maybe that, maybe it's just Stafford being Stafford, but I don't know. I feel like there's also something to this elbow thing. And even behind this Rams offensive line, he might not even make it through the season, elbow or not, like that offensive line looked absolutely terrible. But at the same time, the Bills defense also looked locked in. Von Miller looked incredible. He hasn't lost a step. Ed Oliver, when he was out there, because I know he got hurt, but Ed Oliver also those two together, just very dangerous. And I'm excited for the Bills. I mean, they're a team that's easy to root for. I know that we all like Josh Allen. And man, like, I hate to like keep bringing up Trey Lance in regards to Josh Allen, but if Trey Lance could just be like an ounce of what Josh Allen is, we're gonna be okay. I'll be happy. Like, because Josh Allen looks like the second coming of Jesus out there. It's just easy team to root for. But anyway, so the Rams lost. They're now last place in the NFC West. Are you guys feeling any pressure about Sunday now that the 49ers have lost? I feel like there's a little bit of like weight lifted off of my shoulders as a fan, right? So hopefully that doesn't mean the 49ers, stink it up. I don't think they will on Sunday, but got to feel pretty good to know that one of your biggest rivals in the division takes an L week 1, right? So really at this point, the only team we have to worry about for week 1 would be the Cardinals, and they are pretty shorthanded as well. A wide receiver, no DeAndre Hopkins. Rondell Moore suffered a hamstring injury, so his availability for week 1 is now in question. So I don't know how the Cardinals are going to do in week 1, but what I do know is that the 49ers, it looks like they have a nice path to be able to get a win and right after week 1 be at the top of the division. I'm not even worried about the Seahawks. Don't even need to talk about them. But yeah, I mean, getting this Rams loss, I think means a lot for the 49ers. I know it's just week 1, but everything counts. So Joey says, imagine getting dog walk on banner night. Yeah, and super embarrassing. Couldn't be me, right? I mean, couldn't be the Niners. Of course, they'd have to win another banner for that to happen. Yeah, guys, if you guys didn't see my pinned tweet or my pinned comment there, if you guys entered to the Deebo Samuel signed jersey giveaway, make sure you post your Twitter in the comments and you get an extra entry. Easy way to do it. Easy money right there. Dawson said it would not surprise me if Stafford gets Tommy John. Well, they said on the broadcast that Stafford actually has they compared it to like a baseball injury. So who knows maybe it is Tommy John or something similar. I don't know. But that's how they described it on the broadcast. So that sounds pretty serious. And, they said that he went through like a very vigorous treatment and all of that. And that's great. But the question is, has it affected his throwing motion? Because that can happen. And the other question is, will he be able to last the entire season like this, right? That's the other thing. And again, the elbow might not even matter. That Rams offensive line looked atrocious tonight, so I expect they probably got Whitworth on the freaking phone immediately after that game, offering him a bunch of money. And I hope he stays with the Amazon pregame crew because I actually enjoyed the Amazon stream. Not the one tonight, but the one for one of the preseason games. It was pretty good. Samuel says, Bills are good for sure, but definitely too early to say whether the Rams are washed or not. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I think if it could just be like Super Bowl hangover. I know that is a thing. Like more often than not, the defending champs, I feel like don't really usually win week 1, right? Like, or they look kind of shaky to start the season. So yeah, I agree. Could be Bills are good, but could also be, it's just week 1. Emiliano says, I don't think the Rams are cooked yet, but Stafford's elbow is looking like it might be in the microwave. Yeah, it's taking a beating. And like you said, with the fact that the Rams offensive line is not looking good, that elbow could be taking more of a beating than it even needs to if he's going to be getting sacked like that. I don't expect he'd get sacked that many times week in and week out, but I mean, I'm excited for the 49ers Rams matchup. I'll tell you that. This 49ers defensive line is going to absolutely, smoke their offensive line. Yeah, I see the Twitter ads. Thank you guys. You guys are going to get a extra entry to the Deebo Samuel signed jersey giveaway. Samuel asks, is JJ Watt healthy? I think I saw that he was dealing with an injury, and so I don't even know if he plays week 1 for the Cardinals. So yeah, they're pretty shorthanded right now, the Cardinals. So they have a uphill battle week 1. Patrick says, looking forward to the Niners being at the top of the division on Sunday. Technically, I mean, they are at the top of the division right now, right? But yeah, I mean, if they get that win on Sunday, I'm going to feel pretty good about, being the top dog there. And I feel good about the week 2 matchup for the Niners as well. So if they can beat the Seahawks in week 2, then you know, you're looking pretty good right there. And Milano says some of Stafford's passes looked like they lacked a bit of zip. Yeah, definitely. And I know someone like posted the video of his throwing motion that it looked kind of weird. He had that very like overarching looking motion, which normally when people point out like quarterback mechanics, I am not one to really notice those fine details, but in that video I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty bad. And I think for the most part it was just that one throw, but not a good sign if his throwing motion is not going to be consistent throughout the season. And if he's going to continue playing, there's a chance that it will only get worse throughout the season, right? So something to keep an eye on with Stafford. I think the Rams are concerned about it, but more than they let on, right? Someone said that they should trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. A bad idea. I'd do it. Samuel says Rams need to worry about getting AR3 more involved and beef up that O-line. Yeah, Allen Robinson barely being involved in this game. It's reminiscent of his time with the Bears. Like, why did you guys pick him up again? Was it to just not throw to him? That didn't make sense. And maybe it's just the lack of chemistry that Stafford has or doesn't have with Allen Robinson right now. Because again, as I mentioned, Stafford has, missed some time in the offseason. And so he didn't really get a chance to acclimate himself with Allen Robinson. So I don't know. I do have Wait, do I have Allen Robinson in one of my fantasy teams? I don't remember. But if I did, I wouldn't be feeling great about it right now. But hey, I was the person who drafted Cam Akers and started him tonight. So, can't win them all. All right. Well, let's talk 49ers, okay? And if you guys want to call in, like I said, feel free to do that. The link is in I don't know why I said link in bio. Link is in the description. I'm too used to Instagram Instagram talk, but link in bio link is actually link in the description. So click that link if you want to call in. And if you guys have any comments or questions that you want to throw in the live chat, do that as well. But let's talk 49ers. The 49ers, they did re-sign Troy Fumagalli. And so now with that, they signed him to the practice squad. So all 16 spots on their practice squad have been filled. Okay, they released Willie Snead, veteran wide receiver from their practice squad. And they brought back Connor Weddington, former Stanford wide receiver. And he's been someone who the team has had on the practice squad a couple of years now. So that's good. But the reason that I bring up the fact that the 49ers brought back Troy Fumagalli. So Fumagalli was with the team throughout camp, and he was one of the undrafted free agents that they brought in. And so they brought him back. And the reason is because George Kittle is potentially missing this game. And by potentially, I mean he most likely is missing this game. So there was a tweet that Aaron Wilson put out earlier today. He said, per his sources, 49ers tight end George Kittle's groin injury, quote, in quotes, not good. Contingency plans in place for him should he be ruled out for first game against Bears. One source characterized injury as serious enough it would be best for him to miss a game. Not great. It's week 1 and the 49ers might go shorthanded at tight end. And this is part of the reason why I wanted the 49ers to really put a greater emphasis on the tight end position this offseason. I know that they like Charlie Warner and he's great, but let's face it, the drop-off between George Kittle and Charlie Warner is pretty significant, I would say. And I feel like from not just a blocking standpoint, right? But as a receiver, you're missing quite a lot when Kittle is not out there. Over the past 3 years, when George Kittle plays, the 49ers are 24-12. And then when Kittle is out, they are just 5-8. I'm sure there's other context to that stat, right? Like I believe most of those are probably in that one weird season where half the team was hurt, half the starters, it seemed like. So that probably also contributed to some of those losses. But we know how big of a deal it is to have George Kittle available. And when he isn't, we know how much that hurts this team, especially given the fact that we are projecting this game to be a run-heavy game, right? So it would be nice for sure to have his run blocking out there, but it seems like it isn't going to be. And so Charlie Warner is going to have to pick up the slack. One thing I tweeted out earlier, I mean, because Warner happened to start the Week 8 game in place of George Kittle because Kittle was hurt last season during that Week 8 game. And so Warner, let me try to find my tweet because I had a little, okay, so he had one reception for 7 yards on 2 targets, and he had a 70 PFF grade in pass blocking, and he had a 70 PFF grade in run blocking. So pretty decent. But I feel like to an extent, like you can't really quantify just how much you're going to miss George Kittle and how much of a drop off it is from Kittle to Warner, right? So we'll see what the game plan holds for this team on Sunday and how they look without George Kittle, in week 1, but definitely something that's not good. Hopefully it's just a 1 week injury for Kittle, and hopefully he's back out there week 2. But at the same time, I also wouldn't suggest, rushing him back. Another player's not practicing, Daniel Brunskill. He's been dealing with the hamstring injury. Dre Greenlaw, he has an elbow injury. He remains limited. As of right now, I still don't think that he is in doubt for Sunday's game. Probably just being careful with Greenlaw. So as of right now, I still expect Greenlaw to be out there. But full participants today, Eric Armstead, Oren Burks, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Mike McGlinchey. And this is actually a great time to segue us into cap or no cap. All right. So cap or no cap, explained it to you guys the other day, right? If you guys don't know, when someone says something is cap, it means they don't believe you at all. When they say it's no cap, they agree with you 100%. So 49ers offensive line coach and run game coordinator Chris Forster said that Mike McGlinchey looks the best he's looked, end quote. So cap or no cap, do you guys buy this about Mike McGlinchey looking the best he's looked? What are we comparing that to? Like, is he the best he's looked since he's come back from his injury, or the best he's looked ever? Like, I feel like there's more to that sentence, but like, that's all he said. He looks the best he's looked. Okay. Patrick thinks that's cap. I would agree. I think that's cap as well. But I feel like like I said, I feel like there's a little bit more to that sentence. Like, had he said he looks the best since coming back from his injury, I could believe that, sure, but I wouldn't say or believe that he looks the best he's ever looked. That's a completely different statement right there. Yeah, Ryan agrees. He thinks it's cap. I say that's cap, but hey, I mean, I'm hoping for the best with Mike McGlinchey here. Like, we're all really crossing our fingers and hoping that he looks good out there on Sunday. He doesn't have any setbacks or, injures another leg muscle on that same leg, right? So hoping for the best. For our sake, I hope that Chris Forrester is correct. All right. Yeah, Emiliano says every lid's in all the malls in the USA. That's how big this cap is. Dawson said, let me see if I can find my mic. Dawson, join us right now. I got the link in the description for you to join. I would love to have you on, buddy. So let's continue talking here. All right, so the consensus on that one was that it's pure cap. Mike McGlinchey, even though he is a full practice from his knee injury, hopefully he does look the best he's looked. All right. Dawson, get in here, man. All right, just to remind you guys, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. We have giveaways pretty often. Lots of content, and make sure you like this video if you haven't yet. We are working on that 40 like goal. So trying to get it on this one. If you guys like this video, hit that like, Debo that like button, sack that like button. Dawson, what is going on, my guy? Yo, how's it going, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So on that Mike McGlinchey thing, yeah, that is the biggest cap of the I've heard.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe trying to hype his guy up a little bit. Maybe just trying to make everyone. I don't see. This is the thing with like coach speak. It's like, do they have to lie? He doesn't need a lie. He didn't have to say he looks the best he's looked. He could just say like, yeah, he looks good out there, But he took it a step further.
It's hard to like say he's telling the truth when you can just look up the injury and all the doctors saying about the injury, how it's like a 50% chance. So like, why even say that in the first place?
Right. And so friend of the pod, Jason Aponte, he's talked to the doctor. I always forget his name. But you guys probably know who I'm talking about. He's a doctor who is often on like the Bay Area radio shows and all that. And he's now been on the Sprint Right Option podcast twice. And so he said that Mike McGlinchey may look about the same in his run blocking, but it's the pass blocking that, might not be as good, which has always been the thing for Mike McGlinchey anyway. So I don't know. Maybe. So there it is. Maybe he does look the best he's looked. I don't know. But like I said, I feel like there's more to that sentence that he just like didn't finish. It's a weird one. But Dawson, how are you feeling about this game on Sunday? Do you have pretty good confidence? Is there anything you're concerned about?
It's just college football started like last week, so I've been like split a bit with my content. So I'm just seeing deja vu to how I thought about the Florida State LSU game, with how just get the pressure and the quarterback is gonna lose the game for Florida State, and then they won by 1 point. So am I concerned a bit because of that? Yes. But I trust the 49ers to figure out some way to win, just because they got the better head coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, and probably the better defensive coordinator as well. I mean,
that's as well.
My concern is Justin Fields potentially running wild in this game, much like he did at times in week 8 last season. I think the biggest thing is similar to how they had to kind of keep Russell Wilson in the pocket. You have to make sure that you're not just pass rushing, but you're also not creating open lanes for, these athletic quarterbacks to like run through. So that's a challenge in itself. But I feel good about this matchup as well. And I agree. We have the better coach and definitely the better defensive coordinator. So on paper, it should be 49ers all the way, but it also depends on, what team shows up, right?
Yeah, and I fought the same, last week with LSU, right? A lot of the same stuff, and then, yeah, just mm, it's just really that and all that. As you can tell, I'm nervous.
No, you're fine. I mean, you have your channel. It's like if this is your channel and just pretend I'm on your channel.
uh,
But no, go ahead.
just like I will say the line's very interesting in that part.
Yeah.
With both run blocking and pass blocking. When like the only guy I feel I can trust on the line's Trent Williams. I got problems.
Mm-hmm.
I feel. But
Yeah.
Spencer Buford has proven that, hey, if he's a rookie that can start, he can start. And if Jake Brendel's the best center, then he is the best center for the 49ers. It's just going to be how the weapons play out for both the 49ers and Bears, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is going to be a big game for the running backs, right? Probably from both sides, especially if the current forecast holds up, right? Because it's supposed to rain. So I would expect that, well, the 49ers always come prepared with a plan for their running backs and the running game. But maybe more so in this game, it's going to be important to like really establish the run early, especially because this is Trey Lance's first week one as like the unquestioned starter. And I'm sure there's going to be some nerves for him as well. But you just want to be able to establish that, momentum, get the ball moving, just to kind of settle the nerves a little bit, take some pressure off of Trey Lance. And so I think the run game is going to be very important. And, to that effect, the run blocking is going to need to be very important. And that's part of the reason why I think, George Kittle not being out there it's going to be a big deal, I think. But I hope the 49ers can, make do without him. I mean, they did in week 8 of last season as well. So, both teams are quite different now than they were then. But, we'll see what shakes out.
Well, it's gonna be interesting because, like, I forgot who tweeted out, but like in the 2 starts of Trey Lance's, like last year, they ran more than they passed. So I'm wondering if that's still a pattern. Like it was like 60% of the plays for the Houston game were runs, and like I made an entire video about how the run game may play out because of heavier backs, Anthony Lynn system, plus Deebo Samuel. There's going to be some sort of change in run game there.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how the running back group shakes out after Elijah Mitchell, because Elijah Mitchell, he's gonna start. He's gonna be the RB1. He's gonna get the bulk of the carries, but they're gonna sprinkle in some of the other guys as well, as they always do. But what roles are those guys gonna have? You know what I mean? Like, do we see Jordan Mason at all in week 1? I mean, do we see Ty Davis Price? I think we'll definitely see Jeff Wilson Jr. And I think he'll probably be the pass catching back, which is great. I think he's good at that role. But yeah, there's a lot of questions going into this game, right? Because there's so many new pieces on this 49ers team. And so it's exciting in that way, to kind of see how, it all works out.
I think with like the running backs, it's going to be interesting to see who they trust more with pass blocking a bit, right? Because, like, do you trust, Ty Davis, right, who I'm a fan of because of certain reasons. But, SEC play, have, tougher guys there. Do you trust him more to be the pass blocker, or do you trust Jordan Mason, who's good at everything in that third down situation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough thing, right? You got Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson who have experience, and then after that you have two guys who have no experience at the NFL level. So it's like, who do you trust after those two top guys? So I don't know. I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Ty Davis Price or Jordan Mason at all in this game. They probably just have three running backs active, I would assume, in this game. So I just don't know, I guess, which one of those two we'd see active.
Which is the reason why I never draft a 49ers running back in fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a tough gamble for sure.
Any you want to be a system running back.
You want to be a homer, but it's also like, it's risky for sure. It's risky business. Matthew here says Bears have two good rushers. That one guy had 18.5 sacks. Wow, I didn't even know that. Robert Quinn. He was our outside linebacker. Robert Quinn's really good.
That's a research for another day for me.
But if it was Robert Quinn, I assume it was. Yeah. Trent Williams, held down the fort pretty well against Robert Quinn in week 8 of last season. He allowed just one pressure to Quinn. So I'd call that a win in my book for the day. And like you said earlier, I'm not worried about Trent Williams. That's not who, we have to worry about. I think it's all of the other guys. But I also think so it was Quinn. Yeah, he's definitely good. I think between, the end of training camp to leading up to this week 1, they've had a lot of time to practice without the offensive line changing. It's been the same guys since the end of training camp. And so I think that helps, build that cohesion, and start gelling
show
together.
That they know who their best guys is and all that.
Yeah. So even though the offensive line was very up and down in, throughout training camp, they were making a lot of changes though, especially to the center position. Like Brendel and Brunskill were swapping first team reps every day pretty much. So that's not a way.
Could have been LSU went through with 10 different sets of O-line combinations and they still have the worst one out there possibly.
I mean, it's possible. And Daniel Brunskill right now, I mean, he's hurt. So, you can't see if he can fit in somewhere. I almost wonder if maybe they were tempted to start Brunskill if he were to be healthy, right? But he's not right now, so he'll probably just be a backup at the moment, and that's fine. While the offensive line is probably the biggest question mark, the biggest concern going into this week 1 matchup, I also feel oddly comfortable. I feel like they'll be okay. They'll figure it out. Like I said, I'm more worried about George Kittle not being out there because George Kittle could help the offensive line to an extent. Some of the run and pass blocking. So him not being out there is a bigger deal than, how I feel about the offensive line right now.
I feel like it seems like the 49ers are going to have a better second half than the first half for this Bears game. I don't know why I feel that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like Trey Lance's first half is going to be some overreactions, and then he's going to settle down the second.
Well, I mean, even in the week 8 game, I know it was Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, but it was kind of a tale of two halves, right? The defense looked kind of sloppy in that first half. They were really allowing a lot of big runs, and but they figured it out in that second half, and so I think that's. I kind of feel like it'll be a strong showing from the defense right off the bat.
Yeah.
And
there's
but I
no
agree.
worries from me about that defense.
None at all.
Maybe safety play. Maybe.
Yeah, to an extent. But I feel like our corners are so much better this year. Charvarius Ward is so much better than any option we had last year. I watched the Bears game over leading up to this week, right? And I was just like appalled by the fact that we really had Josh Norman out there. Like he had 2 fumbles in that game, which is really funny. So he did help the 49ers win that game with those turnovers. But man, like in Mosley, by the way, he had his worst game of the season against the Bears last year. I don't expect that same kind of performance this time. I think Mosley's going to be really solid. And again, with Charvarius Ward, like I don't think Darnell Mooney is going to have as big of a game as he did, in week 8 where he got a bunch of targets.
I think it just all depends on how quick they can get to Justin Fields. Maybe that, lowers the worry about secondary play and safety play if they just keep on getting pressure.
Yeah.
And Nick Bosa trying to get on a DPOY campaign. That athletic
he's going for the 20 piece per sources. He's going for the 20 piece. Matthew here says McGlinchey won't last the game. He looks hurt. This game might be closer than people think. I agree. I think it will be. I think it will be closer than people think. Everyone is talking about how much the Bears suck, and it's just fans, right? I don't think the team is like doing that, but I think the Bears can absolutely surprise you. They've gotten better since last year, believe it or not. The 49ers have too, but I mean, let's not go into this thinking, hold on, my cats are fighting. 1 second. I got to spray them really quick.
But yeah, it is interesting with McGlinchey, with all that type of stuff with that injury. Yeah.
Oh God. Of course, they decide to fight while I'm live, right? I mean, no other time.
That's why I record mostly all my videos.
Yeah, when they're fighting. Yeah. Yeah, Matthew says our defense is better than theirs, but I think both offenses will struggle. Yeah, I think that's fair. So really, it's going to come down to the defense, which I think is going to be the case for much of the season, right? Because Trey Lance isn't going to be perfect right off the bat.
Figures it out like 2019 a bit.
Yeah,
in that way.
They'll figure it out. I think the offense will come along as the season progresses, but I think the first few weeks are going to be a little shaky. I mean, that's just what I expect, and I am preparing other fans to expect that as well, because like I don't want people to be all disappointed and be like, let's put Jimmy Garoppolo out there, no, that's what we're not going to do. So yeah.
I had to do the same thing for LSU. Basically, like half my content was like, don't want the backup quarterback, right? Or you don't want him right now. But the state of this team, like
you got to stay level-headed to an extent, right? You can't.
And don't ask for the buyout of your coach after one game.
Wow, so things sound a little crazy at in LSU world a bit.
Yeah, no one can handle a rebuild over here after 2 years at 6-6.
Well, I mean, kind of reminds me of the Niners for a stretch before, now, right? Well, if you guys have any other questions, hit me up in the comments. I mean, we're answering. This is a Ask Me Anything format we got going on right now. We could talk the Rams Bills game. We could talk the 49ers Bears game. We could talk any other matchup on the 49ers schedule. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we're here for you. You guys like my shirt? I'm just
here because I got nothing else to
do. Well, we're happy you're here, Dawson. Sources, trust me, bro.
I've been working on a green screen for like the better part of today.
Nice. Yeah, I know you've been trying to get your channel going. It's been pretty awesome. And
because I do like just staying in front of a camera, right? That is good and all that, right? But I don't have the best background. I don't have the.
It's all right. I mean, man,
I have a bunch of like Like, let me see if I can fix this. Like, look at all this stuff that doesn't get shown.
Are you kidding me? That actually looks awesome. Like, you just need to position your camera for that to be your background.
That doesn't get shown.
That actually looks awesome. That would be a great backdrop right there.
Yeah, it was for a few videos, but I had to fix my setup a bit because I got a new computer. So just
it happens. It happens. Guys, tomorrow I am going to be having another 49ers Bears preview, but this time going to be having Brad of Unbearable Sports on the pod tomorrow to talk 49ers Bears one last time before Sunday. And make sure you guys tune in for that. That will be tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. And again, as I mentioned, we have the Deebo Samuel signed jersey giveaway. Head on over to my Twitter, at Steph49K. Go to the pin tweet to see what that giveaway is all about. Appreciate it. Yeah, we always try to do some giveaways for the subscribers. Appreciate all of you guys rocking with me. Matthew says, trippy mic, it looks like a Death Star. Yeah, like what kind of mic is that?
This is just a
the blue. Okay, yeah. I've seen those in, I don't think I'd seen those in like all black, so it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it was the only one they had, and you see, I used to just do it with this, right?
Yeah,
but with my computer, it just the wire it works differently, or like the plug-in. So I had to buy this, so it was just.
Gotcha. Yeah. My mic's actually a blue mic as well. It's the. I don't even know what model this is called, but yeah, it's a blue mic. 'Cause I used to do like music stuff, so like I had this mic when I did music and like vocals and things like that. So like now it's just a great podcasting mic. But I love blue mics. They're pretty solid. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll just cap it off right here. We've been live for about 40 minutes, and it's getting close to my bedtime. I do have work tomorrow, so I'm gonna
sleep
leave
is for the week.
Hey, I gotta keep the fresh mind, you know. Gotta keep the fresh mind. Actually, the other day where I felt like shit, it was because I had a hangover. It was just terrible. That was yesterday. That was yesterday that I felt like complete ass the entire day.
Probably my third one of these. I don't know.
But anyway, so I'm gonna get my rest. Dawson, appreciate you being on and coming on a whim. And hopefully we could do this again. I will be trying to do more call-in shows, sprinkle them in maybe once a week, depending on scheduling. And
or
all
just add me
like
on Twitter and I'll join.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime
join
for
on
sure.
Anything, really.
Appreciate it, man, and appreciate all of you guys coming on and listening. And see you guys tomorrow. Once again, as I mentioned, that Bears preview with Unbearable Sports tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you guys have not liked the video yet, make sure that you guys do that. Have a good rest of your night. Yeah, do it, Dawson. Come on.
Yeah, I did. That's
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.